Hello and welcome to NEOhioLife Entrepreneur Spotlight. I'm Maya Rosario. I'm here with Salma Khattab, Breakthrough HypnoCoach. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad that you're here today.
And I'm so excited to be here as well.
Yes. So Salma, for people that don't know what a Breakthrough HypnoCoach is, can you please share with our audience?
Yes, so I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I'm an embodiment coach. So because I'm not only a hypnotherapist and I'm not only a coach, so I am a HypnoCoach. That's just the business name that I've chosen for myself, and it's a really easy way for people to understand what it is that I do. I use hypnosis in my coaching practice.
Okay. So tell us, when you started your business, take us back to the beginning. Like what called you to become an entrepreneur?
It's a longer story. So I have a business background. I started off in marketing and entrepreneurship way before I became a hypnotherapist and I entered this field of mental health and well-being. So it started a long time ago, and I've always had entrepreneurial traits growing up, because my parents were immigrants to the United States. They were working, multiple jobs. We needed support, and I always wanted to find an opportunity to, for social mobility, for socioeconomic mobility. So that's where it started. So as a young child, I was always thinking, well, oh, I can do this business or that business. And I was eager to start working. And that was when I was very young. Throughout my education, like high school and so on, I did want to become a psychiatrist because of childhood experiences where I think there was my calling was there. I had that calling. But going into college, I was forced to decide between really very limited specializations. And so I went into business school, and I went into business administration and then entrepreneurship. So that is actually what I studied. And then, I've again started businesses, stopped businesses. Every other day there's something new that I was involved in. And because my circumstances were just there was just so much going on. Life threw a lot of things at me and my family, so there was a lot of start and stop. Eventually, I did my master's in business administration, and which was in marketing analytics. But again, once I left the corporate world, I wanted to go straight back into entrepreneurship, because once you program your mind for something, it becomes your identity, and you're always seeing opportunities here and there for innovation, for helping people. So that's where I was. However, after giving birth to my children, I experienced a breakdown and severe depression and an existential crisis and a spiritual awakening. And I wasn't planning to go to work at all, but getting out of my own situation and with my own healing journey, that's when I entered into hypnotherapy and I trained. And then, in order to serve people, you have to have a business to do that. So I went back, but it's a different type of entrepreneurial setting than before.
Mm-hmm. How so? How's it a different entrepreneur?
So when I was, before this awakening and before this experience, I was always looking at, I want to serve millions of people. I want to be the next Steve Jobs. Really big visions, and the typical, when you think of, I want a startup and I want to get investors and I want to, all of that. But when I shifted to what I'm doing now, I focused more on the individual, the one person that I am working with at a time. And instead of wanting to work and to help millions of people, all of my focus was just the person in front of me. And that was enough. So with every session, it just became about that person, and it didn't become about scaling. It wasn't about, how can I grow this and develop this and have hundreds of employees and be international. That wasn't my focus anymore as it used to be before. So eventually, with time, I am thinking about scaling, and I'm working on expanding and doing new things and different innovations. But at that moment, for most of it, my primary focus is just the person in front of me.
So how did you figure out who your target audience is, and how did you shape the business model around that individual?
Yeah, so for this specific practice that I'm in, instead of, I used to be the kind of person that does a lot of push marketing and like strategy and all of that. And then with what I'm doing now, I relaxed into more of my feminine space and attracting clients to me because I wasn't looking at it from the beginning as this is a business and I have these specific goals and objectives. I just wanted to help people, and whoever it was meant to be helped would eventually come my way. So in the beginning, I wasn't niching. I was more of a generalist. Depending on what the person in front of me needed, I would, tailor my work to serve them in the best way that I can. But eventually, I started noticing a pattern in the people that I was working with, and most of them were highly sensitive people, empaths, people who are neurodivergent, maybe ADHD, maybe autism, but primarily highly sensitive people. So I started to include in my intake form a quiz or an assessment, and that you get to score, just to really see, well, is it true? On a metric, can I actually prove that most of my clients are highly sensitive people? And that was the case. So that's what I continue to find. So I kind of niched into that.
So what are some, how did you find the financial model? Because, for a lot of entrepreneurs are like, now I have to be a salesperson and I have to figure it out. So how did you figure out the right financial model within your business model?
Yes. So because I started, before in business for something very different, I am always, even consciously and maybe subconsciously, it's just part of how I plan things. I'm looking at the value that I'm delivering. I'm obviously looking at the cost of my time, and I'm looking at my positioning with others. Now, once I have entered into this field, positioning became very important. I understood how important it is for the client that I'm working with, for myself to position myself at the level that they need in order to expect success. So it's not just about my time. I am willing to do what I do for nothing because I am really focused on helping people, and I've been there. But obviously, I want to be able to support myself. So this is something that everyone will think about, and that would be more around cost, more on needs, and that's how I would set up the pricing that way. However, if I'm working with my clients, I need to see what it is that they're trying to solve, what is the value for them, and what is the positioning. So if someone, let's just say and I do things that are a lot more complicated than this, but let's just say it's smoking. So if someone would like to quit smoking, well, what is the cost of them smoking per year? Per 10 years. What is the monetary cost? Financially, what is the impact on their health? What's the long-term cost? What's the cost on their family? So if I were to position my pricing or to offer my service at something, let's just say the cost of a month's worth of a pack of cigarettes, in that case, they will not commit. They will not, it's not enough for them to be invested in the change that they want to make. So that's number one. And then number two, if I were to position myself in a way where, I am a fraction of the price that they would invest with a different practitioner, subconsciously, they will expect me to provide less quality, less effectiveness. This is on the subconscious level. They will assume that my session will be less effective than, someone else. So those are some of the things that I really had to think about. And also just managing my energy. So it's the cost of the value that I'm offering, what they need the price to be in order to be invested in it, and in order to understand the positioning of it, and then finally it's what do I need it to be in order to grow my business, in order to be able to serve people the way that I need to be, and to manage my energy and my time.
So what role, if any, has social media played in growing your business?
I have to say, for myself, social media has not been my strongest suit. When I think of social media, I am primarily on Instagram and Facebook. I do have a YouTube account. I'm not very consistent with it. I do have Twitter. I'm not consistent with it. I do have LinkedIn, not consistent with it. For me personally, when someone has an issue that they would like my services, they will search for it on Google. They come at the point where it's like, I have a need. There's a problem here. It's in the middle of the night. Let me just search what are the solutions. And then they can come to me through Google straight to my website. With social media, there is so much content. There are so many people that are offering value, and maybe even greater value than I would offer. And so when you are on social media, your mindset isn't, I'm going on Instagram to find a solution for my procrastination. You're just scrolling through, and maybe you see a video about this, a video about that, an ad, and so you're not focused, you're not in the moment where you're actually ready to take action.
Right.
And so for social media, for me, it would just be mainly about people knowing me, liking me, understanding like credibility, understanding that I do have expertise. But it's not really, it might be a long-term strategy, but I haven't seen it successful for me in terms of expanding. So maybe just brand awareness, and it's really limited. I have to say I did not succeed with the algorithms.
Right. Do you have a Google strategy? Do you do Google ads, or do you do Google ad campaigns?
Yeah, so since I started working until this year, I was not doing Google ads. I have just started with Google ads, paid ads. I can't say that it's really effective, but I can see that it can be effective. So most of my growth has been organic. Most of my reach has been organic, referrals, people I meet, really not from social media. I did have one person come to me from Hawaii through a YouTube video that I had posted, and I almost post nothing on YouTube, and this client, they just found me in the middle of, I don't know how. So it happens like that, and I just, that's what I was saying, I attract it. If it's needed, it's coming to me.
Yeah, they have to be in that triggering event. What's one piece of advice that you would give someone that's thinking of starting their own business?
One piece of advice is really connect with the part of you that knows why it wants this business. If you're starting a business, it takes all of you. And you have to, and it's your energy that's in there. It's your energy that's being presented. And if you have a vision, think about the vision, fall in love with the vision, think about the growth, think about the scaling, really fall in love with what it is that you want to do and what it is that you want to create and how you want to grow it, and fall in love with your clients or your customers, and really know them very well. And then the second step would be, the how, the strategy. So then with the second step, you might not have the answers. So what I would say the next thing is, if you're not going to be doing it alone, build a team. Find who is it that I want to do this with? Who if it's going to be VAs, if it's going to be co-founders, if it's going to be collaborators, partners, but who is your team? Because when you're surrounded with people, that keeps the momentum going. Even if it's a VA that is going to sign in and text you every morning, what do you need me to do today? It keeps the momentum going. So now you have the vision, now you have the team, and then the how, that's easy. The how, you can now use ChatGPT and ask it, create a strategy for me. What do I need to do day by day? Before, I used to say, coming from business, you create a business plan, do your research. Now this is the easiest. So don't worry about the how, but stay focused on the vision and stay focused on your commitment to why it is that you're doing what you're doing. And if you have a team, that's a make or break situation for your business.
So what advice would you give somebody who's looking for a coach?
Looking for a coach, because I've worked with many different coaches before, find someone that really gets you. I think it's really important to feel that when you're in a coaching space that you can express yourself fully and authentically, and also to feel connected. A lot of times with people, when you express yourself fully and you want to, bare yourself, you're worried that the other person will judge you. You're worried that you will cut the connection with your therapist or with your coach. And so when you're choosing a coach, you want to choose someone that you can relate to and you can feel this person will get me. They will get my background. There's nothing that I can say that they will judge or will make them reject me in any kind of way. When that happens and you enter a relationship with someone like that, then you can be fully your authentic self and you can allow them to go deep with you with whichever modality that they're using, and that's how you're going to stay successful. It's someone that you are looking forward to seeing week on week or month on month. If it's not, then don't do it. Like, do a chemistry call. If there is no chemistry, if you don't feel that this person gets me and there's nothing that I can say that they will judge, then find someone else. Don't invest months into it.
Yeah, great advice. Speaking of advice, what best advice would you give? What's the best piece of advice you've ever received about entrepreneurship?
I'm laughing, I'm smiling because I don't usually follow advice, and that's my problem. But I think, you know what, if I will regret something about any of my previous businesses, is that I did not focus on the team aspect. Like, sometimes you need the co-founder, like multiple co-founders, who's going to do what. But early on, to really allow this person to own the business with you. They do not work for you. This is not my idea, my business, and I'm just getting someone to support me. No, they own it with me. And I need to be in it, seeing it in that way, because when they're invested, I'm invested, and we're growing this vision. It doesn't matter, as long as there's obviously like a compatible skill sets and all of that you've done. A lot of the things don't matter. I remember that there was a business and I lost a very good co-founder over, like how we're dividing up the partnerships. I regret that because you know what? This person was, she knew what she was doing. She was going to run the operations and she was putting 100% in there, and so was I, and we would have gone so much further had we not disagreed on something so silly. So that's what I would say, like, prioritize the team over the idea, prioritize the team even over the vision, because a lot of these things can change. The idea, you'll pivot, the vision will change over time anyway. We're only using the vision really for the momentum, and to have a goal. But the person that's with you, if you find someone that you can enter into a business relationship with and you have the chemistry, you have the compatibility, stick with that person. Don't let anything stop you, because you can work with them on many different businesses.
That's great advice. So how do you come to peace with, those setbacks? Those decisions you make that you look back and you're like, wow, I would do it different. Like, how do you come to peace with that?
So, you know what? Before, I used to think that I was in total control. And that's more masculine energy. And it's just, I'm in control, everything has to be my way. And thinking that because when you think that you're in control, that means that every single mistake you make, every single setback is your fault, and then you get lost and regret and guilt and all of that. It's not really in my control. I was meant to be doing what I'm doing now. If I was meant to have succeeded in that previous business that I was working on with that person that I mentioned, I would have. But sometimes we don't make the right decisions, or we sabotage, or we do certain things subconsciously because we know that this is not it. And maybe even if it's subconsciously is almost talking about my own mind, but I do believe that we're supported and that we're guided. And so some things, they're not going to work, and you're kind of, you'll make that mistake because you need to make that mistake because you have to course correct and you're headed in a different direction. So this is why for me, I'm focused on the present. This is what I'm doing right now. I don't know what I'm doing 10 years from now, and therefore I don't need to worry or carry so much of the burdens of what happened 10 years ago. But that's the result of a lot of inner work that I've had to do.
Right, absolutely.
And transformations.
Yes. So who should seek you out?
So the majority of the people who seek me out are those that have tried typical coaching or typical therapy, like traditional therapy or traditional coaching, and they have not overcome traumas, they have not changed their behaviors, they have not achieved their goals, they have spent months, years, maybe even on medications, and they did not make any kind of progress. They come to me usually when nothing else has worked and they're like, okay, well, maybe I'll just try this. That's when they should come to me. I think they should come to me much sooner. However, there is value in trying other things first and then coming to me, because at that point they know that this has to work now, and they already know that everything else is not going to work. Right. So I would say anyone who is overcome by the past, they can't get over it. Anyone who has issues with emotional regulation, nervous system regulation, emotional reactivity, anyone who notices that patterns keep repeating in their life and they just can't break through the cycle. Whatever was happening in my childhood home is now happening at work, is now happening in my romantic relationship, and they just need to get out of that. They can come to me. And then those who things are great for them, but they have reached some kind of limit in their success. There is a goal that they want to reach, and for some reason they're not able to reach it. They want to do something new to explore what else is there for me. If I really applied myself to my fullest potential, then they can come to me as well.
Wow. So before we go, what last advice would you give an entrepreneur?
It's really basically what I said. The one advice that I also want to give, so focus on your thoughts. Thoughts are really important. Focus on regulating your emotions, feeling your emotions and letting them go. You don't have to hold on to your emotions forever. And your physiology. Embodiment is key. Embodiment is how everyone else will interact with you, how they will perceive you. So people don't know what you're thinking, they don't know what you're feeling, but they do know how you're showing up in your body, and they can sense that. So even if your thoughts, you haven't worked on your thoughts yet, even if you're carrying emotions. No, focus on your embodiment, focus on your physiology. Make a simple shift in like how you're sitting, how you're standing, how you're speaking, your body language, and notice immediately how it shifts your state and how it shifts how other people are perceiving you and interacting with you. It doesn't have to take years.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. And if you'd like to learn more about Salma, can you let them know where they can find you?
Yes, my website is www.breakthroughhypnocoach.com, and my social media is breakthrough.hypno.coach. Yeah, and you can find me anywhere.
Anywhere. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Myra.
Thank you.